Do you ever have trouble figuring out what is that next step for you in business? Well, I think that might be because, there's not a great description out there for entrepreneurs that helps us to understand and figure out exactly where we are in business. A lot of times we hear that there are 3 levels of business: startup, growth, or leveraged. And I want to shake things up a little bit because I actually think that there are 5. That's what I want to talk to you today about. So hi, I'm Michelle Sism. I'm a business coach and business strategist from DecisiveMinds.com. And I think that what's been happening for entrepreneurs is that we try to shove ourselves into this format of, am I a startup business? Am I in growth stage? Or am I leveraged? And there's so much in between those. So I just wanted to talk to you real quick about the 5 degrees of business, or at least my opinion on those 5 degrees of business. So the first place that everyone starts out is in startup phase. Now, the question is, are you in startup phase because you want to build something that's, big and leveraged, or are you just creating a small business that may stay in one of these smaller phases? Great answer. Either way is a great answer, but I want you to be really aware that there's a difference between small business and startup, right? A small business is looking for fast profit. A startup is looking for growth. There's the difference. So startup is the word I'm going to use for today. And what that means is that you're in the process of developing the plans, figuring out how you're going to make money, figuring out who your ideal client is, all of that kind of thing. And listen, usually, absolutely, everyone who's starting a business starts out in startup, but some of you have been in business for 3 years and you're still in the startup phase. It's time to make the decisions. It's time to put the plans together, put them in place, get the business plan created. And when I say business plan, I mean a revenue plan, a sales plan, a marketing plan, those types of things that you need to move forward in your business. The second level, once we have figured out those plans, then we go into what I call the implementation stage of business. And that's where we start to put all those plans in place. We start to get our first clients. We are working to get visible, to get seen, to be out there. What we don't end up with in the implementation phase is really consistent cash flow. We start to see cash flowing, but it's still the big ebb and flow, right? All of a sudden you got a whole bunch of money and then the next month you don't have any clients. We see that happen a lot in implementation. But once we get a grasp on, seeing clients coming in on a regular basis and understanding that we got our plan in place, then once that happens, then we can move into what I call the sustainable phase of business. So when we get to that third phase, a lot of people call this growth. Sustainable to me means that you, in this position, you start to work on building that consistent cash flow. You've got a consistent influx of lead generation and new clients. You're starting to systemize and to build, the strategies are really coming together, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That is the sustainable phase. A lot of people work to get to the sustainable phase and don't quite move past there. They stay there for the entire time that they're in business. Sustainable is where you finally start to see a paycheck, okay? That might come as a shocker for some of you, right? You don't normally see a paycheck in the implementation phase. So we want to work to get to sustainable as quickly as possible. And then once we have mastered sustainable, then we move on to scalable. And those are those businesses that are really getting deep into looking at their systems. How can you as an entrepreneur grow this business without you being the one who's doing all the work each day, without you being the one who's having to go out and find the clients, without you being the one who's having to do all the implementation and servicing the clients? So this is where we see a lot of team growth. This is where we see a lot of focus on systems and on duplication, creating a duplicatable business. See a lot of businesses go into franchising or licensing in this phase. So that is the scalable phase. And then we move into the 5th phase. When we have figured out the scalable phase, we move into what we call sellable or leveraged. And this is the point where your business is truly working on its own. You are bringing in a very consistent cash flow. You're taking a nice paycheck out of the company, and you have the option to actually implement your exit plan if you want to. So I can tell you from experience, since I've sold a couple of businesses, it's a lot of fun to get to the sellable stage. All right, so for more great tips just like this, be sure and join us at decisiveminds.com. This is Michelle Sissom saying, be decisive. Bye-bye.